The benefits and downsides of forking. Well, the benefits we already discussed. It's an upgrade or an improvement of your software, but it's also a downside, splitting resources. So splitting your resources, what does this actually mean? Is, for example, reducing the network effects. So you're splitting up communities, but also creating a lot of new work. Just imagine how to rewrite your code again. It also reduces trust in quite ugly ways sometimes. For example, the Bitcoin Cash versus the Bitcoin Core battles. While people are throwing mud to each other, they might damage the entire image of Bitcoin more than the gain from their own personal projects. So tribalism kicks in and a lot of ugly things can happen. But also important when you're talking about forks and downsides is just imagine trying to build a business on a database that continuously splits, which is quite hard. Or you as an individual, for example, if you record your house on a blockchain, imagine that database with recorded houses in the Netherlands at Cadastre keeps on splitting and forking just like the Linux distribution. All of a sudden you have now 10 same houses in 10 different databases. So if you want to sell your house according to one ledger, you might not have sold it according to another ledger, etc., etc. You see where I'm going with it. So a good example of this is also the public versus private discussion, where private blockchains or private distributed ledgers often claim that they don't fork, which is a huge benefit if you want to build your business on it, but it's a huge downside, of course, if you want to keep on innovating. So if you want to keep continuous innovation, if you want to become truly anti-fragile and become stronger with every attack, you need to go open and public and you need to allow yourself to be forked. Because then that one hacker that might be able to hack your system could be tackled afterwards. Or in this case, what also sometimes happens is that white hat hackers find bugs and can contribute to your software because you're in an open environment. They're also allowed and sometimes even incentivized, which isn't the case in private blockchains. So the benefit or the choice that you need to make for yourself when you're, for example, are building your business, am I going to build on something that's more stable because it doesn't fork, but that's also, so it's better to use, but that's in time most likely less secure because it can't handle the amount of attacks because it's centralized. And as you remember from level very 1, centralized systems have 3 major downsides, and one of these downsides is, let me think for a second, they have a single point of failure. So the single point of failure attack could still apply in private blockchains, which would only make public blockchains stronger. A good example of this, for example, is the value overflow incident, where I think it was in 2010 or 2011, somebody actually managed to create like a gazillion bitcoins with a transaction. So all of a sudden there weren't 21 million bitcoins anymore. There were like, I think 10 billion, 21 bitcoins. But that eventually got returned. That was not a deliberate attack. It was like a bug in the system, and by forking they solved that problem. So that's a good example of finding a bug and improving your software. So in short, improve your software versus splitting resources. The benefits versus the downsides of forking. Also visible in public and private discussion, whether go public blockchains versus private discussion, private blockchains. Public blockchains are less stable regarding the forks, but that also allow new upgrades from different directions and make the entire system more anti-fragile. So it all depends on your use case, as you might have learned already. So that's a wrap for now. I will see you in next class.